Right now, in this exact moment, is a critical turning point for Tesla. Will Tesla take over legacy auto as we know it? What is the future of Tesla with new products and more? Let's get into all of that, the future of what to expect in this video. So let's compare the concrete differences between Tesla and legacy auto, EVs versus gas. Which one do you buy and why? First, number one, let's get into the big benefit that leans towards Tesla. Is Tesla going to take over legacy auto as we know it? Well, they completely eliminated an entire sector of the car dealerships, and that is salespeople. So no longer are you going to a dealership to buy a car. You can order all of that customized to exactly what you want with an estimated time of arrival and price and financing. All through the Tesla website, there are absolutely no negotiations. So a lot of people think this is great. I mean, I personally hated going to a car dealership, especially, don't get me started, if you have a trade-in where you're going in and they offer you maybe a bottle of water or a soda in good faith to then only have you sit in a chair while a salesperson goes and speaks to their manager about what they can do as far as a car vehicle's price. Well, that is all out the window, and that's a big sign of what's to come in the future for Tesla. And that brings us into point number two. When it comes to haggling, let's talk all about the price. You go to a dealership, you see a sticker on a car that says final price or dealership price or on sale or whatever happens to be at a car dealership, and then the salesperson comes over to you and negotiates. Well, unless you've done your homework, you have no idea the massive markup that a dealership puts on their inventory. Well, Tesla is completely different. They've eliminated this entirely. Clear upfront pricing, and what you need to do is keep up to date on when those prices change. That's something we talk about on the channel all the time, but here's what you want to know. People like it a lot. There's no negotiating. Like I said, even the financing is upfront. You can choose from a lease to a loan or paying in cash, all on the Tesla website. Point number three, right now there are huge EV tax credits available at the federal level and at the state level as well. So if you haven't heard, now the EV tax credit, a part of the Inflation Reduction Act, is retroactive back to January. So if you're buying any Model 3 or Y, you're going to get up to $7,500 in a tax credit. So you have to meet certain income requirements, but at this time, all Model 3s and Y qualify, something a gas car cannot say. So unless there's certain dealership promotions, you're not going to get a large tax incentive, especially at the state level for your gas vehicle. Okay, so no salespeople, more upfront pricing, and now EV tax credits. Well, is that enough to continue Tesla's massive success, taking over a lot of market share from legacy auto? Let's get into the next point. By the way, I always forget to mention this, but my Tesla referral link is down below. You get rewards whether you use my referral link or somebody else's, so make sure to use one. And the very best Tesla accessories are linked down below as well. If you could click those, it would support the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Point number four, there is no debate over this, period. Gas cost versus an EV charging cost. Well, I can plain as day show you on my Tesla app my monthly cost to charge my Tesla. Now, many will say, well, yes, but you're buying an expensive car, and that is true. There is some upfront cost, like installing a charger and, of course, paying for the vehicle. But when you look at the average price of a new car currently in the United States, a Tesla and Model 3 is actually lower than the average price of a new car. And listen to this. The cost of ownership is a lot lower as well. We're about to talk about that, so stick around. But how much gas money am I really going to save by owning and charging a Tesla? So the Tesla app does this all for you based on the average gas prices in your region and based on the mileage. You can see how much I saved so far on a yearly basis. Now, I use my Model 3 as my daily driver, and I spend around $70 to $80 a month to charge. Find me a gas vehicle that you can drive for 1,500 miles a month and only pay $80 to fuel it up. And again, compare apples to apples. A brand new car in the same class as Tesla, you're not gonna find it. Point number 5, I'm seeing a lot of advantages here, but will Tesla still take over even more demand from legacy auto? What's the future look like? Well, the future is right now in Tesla's modern design. We've seen so many refreshes and revamps of the same thing from legacy auto, but now Tesla brings something completely different. Look, whether you like the design or not, Tesla is setting records worldwide, with Tesla, the Model Y, being the second most overall sold car in the United States so far, only trailing behind the Ford F-150 and quickly picking up momentum. So we're seeing that an EV and Tesla is taking over a lot of market share, and people are drawn to this new way of driving with a screen, no more buttons, modern, simple design. It is what people want. Legacy auto is trying to catch up. They're now all of a sudden coming out with EVs. All of a sudden they're invested in batteries when before they didn't care at all about EV technology. Only because of Tesla is this starting. That is clear as day. We have not seen any effort aside from maybe the hybrid, the Prius in the past. Only now they're playing catch up and they're finally adopting a lot of new Tesla technology in their vehicles as well. And that brings us perfectly into Tesla's NAC Charger technology. Now, did you know that Ford and GM, starting in 2025, their EVs are going to use Tesla technology, Tesla chargers. That is going to be the standard. No longer is Ford and GM going to rely on CCS chargers. NAC's or Tesla's charging standard is going to also be used by GM and Ford. Next point, will Tesla take over legacy auto? If you've ever had an auto repair, you have to drop your car off. Maybe you have a foreign vehicle and you have to take it to the actual dealership to get something as simple as an oil change. Well, now Tesla has eliminated so much of that maintenance. There is virtually zero maintenance, I know personally, on my Model 3. Very, very low compared to the average gas vehicle. And that brings us into our next point, and that is convenience. Versus a gas vehicle where you're taking frequent stops at the gas station, maybe once or twice a week, a Tesla is most often charged at your home. And we just spoke about the maintenance. If you're constantly taking in your gas vehicle to get those specific oil changes, it's going to break down more often. Well, a Tesla is much more reliable and convenient because you're going to charge up overnight and leave with a full car of range. So it all sounds great, it all sounds wonderful, but what are some downsides that you want to be aware of when it comes to a Tesla? I experienced this firsthand, so listen to this. Something to think about because I want to give you guys both sides. I've lived through it now. I've driven probably 35,000 miles at this point, and I got into my very first fender bender. So how expensive is it to fix a Tesla, and how expensive is that Tesla insurance? Not every state has Tesla insurance, but I have heard from other Tesla owners it is much, much cheaper than what you can traditionally find out there in the market, and that is based on your driving score, your safety score. So much like other insurance companies, the safer you drive, the lower your premium. But let's get into some concrete numbers because I have an example for you on the Tesla repair. So how does $1,100 sound for a headlight? Or in the Model X example that I recently saw on Twitter, $3,000 for one headlight. There is no doubt that a Tesla, after my very low speed minor fender bender, was $10,000 to repair. Take this with a grain of salt because as Tesla ramps up their production, they are also going to ramp up their service department, coming out with more spare parts to turn around repairs more quickly, and they're going to have economies of scale, which means they're going to be able to bring those repair prices down for their parts once they scale up production of these parts for the repairs. The only way I know that you liked this video is, of course, to drop a like and consider subscribing so you can get even more Tesla news and updates. Again, this is Matt from Frunk to Trunk. We will see you in the next video.